That's funny that you said, but it was just like that. It was just so protective and defensive and like in control, but yeah, panicking. But not I wouldn't say panicking, but frenzy.
Mhm.
Yeah, in a frenzy. Yeah.
And like, well, maybe that means like frenzied, but like if you're protecting somebody you love who's weak, you're going to be all over the place, all over
Right,
it. Like,
right.
nope, nope, nope.
Hurry up, go get the water. Go get the yeah, right.
So you got friends in high places, you know?
Yeah.
So you got friends in high places, you know?
Yeah.
And but yeah, so there is beauty in this horrific situation, and then there's a lot of ugly in this situation. The ugly is the, like you said, the 3D stuff, you know, the 12D, because I'm not even saying 5D, like you were experiencing, I don't even know what level. I'm gonna say 12 because I feel like that's like one of the highest. You
Yeah.
are, that was some whole nother level because, and just in case I forget, I'll just say quickly, the two colors that you're seeing. First of all, if it could be archangels, right? Because we people see them as colors in the prism, but you have the two top colors. You look at the chakras and the colors. You have the violet and like the indigo blue, like up in the top, not touching anything
Absolutely.
below that.
Absolutely.
So that's the upper echelon of the
Yeah, right,
spiritual
right.
world.
Yeah, because it could have been red, it could have been orange, it could have been anything. But
Uh-huh. You had the top two. They were
yeah,
like, we got this, we got this.
yeah. And it's funny because my mother, she's not with us anymore. But she passed away a few years after that. But I wonder who those spirits were, you know, protecting me because now hardcore, I'm like, it's my mom protecting me over there.
Hmm.
But right now, thinking back, I'm like, I wonder who that was, you know.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
it just makes you think, it makes you think, man. But
And then like for African Americans, I'm glad you're mentioning that because a lot of this is going to go back to African Americans because that's the avatars that you and I mean, I don't know if you're from the Caribbean, but we're, we look at each other, we're people of color. You
yeah.
know, I was making a joke with you the other day where I was like, I don't look in the mirror too often, but when I do, I look and I'm like, oh my God, I'm black.
Right, right.
It's like that quantum leap where he comes in and he's in the black life and he's like, oh, that's why this is so difficult.
Really,
Like, why was I going through all this? Oh, that's why.
right.
So to be a conscientious and even a spiritual black person trying to do the positive and right thing in this world, you are generally attacked by your own because they just been through so much trauma and they don't know any better, and then all the others that are systematically just trying to destroy you because this is
Yeah,
what they do. you know
yeah,
so it's like you really have to have that balance, and you have to have that spiritual connection. If people are watching this and they are of the same background, you need to know your power is in that spiritual connection, your connection to the creator of all. And then, did you switch over to spirituality before this experience, or that happened after?
Okay, so yeah, I was deep into Christianity. I grew up in a church. My mom went throughout the week. My granny, she went to Jerusalem. Like they searched high and low for Jesus. But
Mm.
um, I did not switch over. I mean, excuse me. I switched over into spirituality before I got shot. I was searching high and low for answers. That was how I actually had boosted my manifestation powers by actually just being open up to, all the energy. And
Mm.
it infinitely fulfilled me with this power and essence because like I say, once I truly used the emotion and put forth the effort to try to make something happen, it happened. And I put forth the energy to make that happen, but I
Mm.
realized I was like, man, once I came to grips, I'm like, no, that was me. I'm powerful because I'm trying to blame everybody in the world why it happened.
Mm.
But I had started searching high and low before that experience.
And so I definitely agree with the manifestation because I see it in my own life, and that's why we have to stay positive. Like, this is a big, big thing, especially as you are like, if I'll just, there's some things that I'm going to say that clearly are my own belief systems or whatever, but to some extent, this world does seem like it is a test, it's a lesson, and that if we're not clearing up karma, then we're trying to go through situations that are going to teach us as souls and help us to enlighten, to become bigger, better, greater souls, to get closer and closer to being somewhat like our parent, source God, So just the manifestation in itself, and also being in a lower vibrational state. Like that's what just kept coming to my mind, is that if you're going through a divorce or something like that, and just even a breakup, I know, my God, like it's, even if you're the person breaking up, you still have all these feelings. It's a very low vibe time. And so it could be that you were that person, and that's how it was like as a child, well, for some years, very happy, go lucky, everything's going my way. So I totally understand your vibe with that. And then people get jealous. Jealousy is real. It really is real. And the problem is that people don't understand that we all have that power to manifest. So all the people who are haters, we use that term, out
Yeah.
there just trying to sit there, put shade and stuff, literally trying to dim your light and your enlightenment. Um, as soon as you have that kink in your armor, which is something going bad, like something that will make you sad, like a breakup or something. As soon as you have that little tiny little chip, they will jump on that, and then their energy
Yeah.
has a way to get at you. So that's what I kind of, because I went through something very similar. Part of the reason why I'm hiding out now, like I had people who were trying to destroy my life left and right just for pure jealousy.
Yeah.
And so whether it is outwardly or not, and then the worst is when it's family or friends, like people that you haven't realized are undercover haters. you know
Absolutely. Yeah.
so you got to be very careful of that, and make sure you kind of figure that out as soon as possible, because otherwise you're really not putting up your armor where it needs to be you know
Yeah.
and the other thing is, so we already have the systematic, we don't even have to go too deep into that. We know what's happening with that. But within our own community, like, again, you would not normally be in those circumstances where you were in a place where it was like extra, what's going on here. um and uh I guess my question, while we're still in that moment there, is have you had a chance to really think about the person who did that to you? Because like I kind of sometimes in my mind, the thought that came to my mind is I kind of wish you had that NDE where you were able to see, because I've heard this before. This woman was literally like stabbed like a million times by this woman who went kind of crazy, and she was able to see her from the soul view, and literally was forgiving her as she was getting stabbed. Like it was just like off the charts, but she was able to see it from that higher perspective. Have you gotten to a point where you feel like you can forgive the person who shot you?
Yes. And I've had dreams about it too. And I felt like it's been revealed to me. And yeah, I felt like it's been revealed to me.
Mhm.
It's something else, because I know that feeling of knowing through spirit, and that is a real thing. So
Mhm.
yeah, but I haven't had a verbal conversation with the person or
No,
some,
I would not even suggest that. I'm just saying, like, for you,
no,
for
yeah, it's
yourself.
possible. Like, I mean, it's
Yeah.
crazy and close sometimes, but yeah, yeah,
Okay. Because that kind of helps with the healing, is if you yourself are able to kind of, not even to say like, oh, I love them, like that's going, not to say it's going far, because that is, if you're a high level advanced master, you can do that. But just getting to a point where you're not holding or harboring any kind of ill will at all. You just understand that they made some major mistakes. They made, like they are going through their path, and anything that we do to harm another, it always comes back to us, no matter what. So they've got their own thing they're going to have to deal with here or the next life. So it's not even for you to hold on to that. Just kind of let it go. You know.
yeah.
Yeah. So, uh, and then the fact that you kept saying, like, I mean, I had to keep my mouth shut because I just wanted to just say, no, don't feel that way. Because like when you were saying that you came back into the house and, you were feeling like you were feeling shame. I'm like, why would you? If I'm coming in with a gunshot wound into a house full of people that I'm supposed to be whatever with, I don't know that I'd be feeling shame. I'd be like, help me. So not to get too deep into that, because, but I was just very, it's just kind of, I don't know why that would be the response, why it would have been not fully helping. And it kind of comes back to what happens with us as African Americans, where our own community, because we've all been through so much trauma, there's a lot of layers of problems, a lot of layers of issues and things that we still have not started working on. But I do think that, going into spirituality, like really getting into one with our soul essence, is going to help clear a lot of that up. People are going to get out of the avatar or the roles that they think that they have to play. It wasn't until I moved to where I'm at now, where it's like mostly just complete, like the whole system at least is racist, and a lot of the people around here are racist, that I started to realize that by them, especially as a group, collectively thinking one thing of me, whether I'm that thing or not, I start to actually feel like, should I be acting like that? You all expect me to be doing this. Should I be doing that? Like you just start to have that feeling like, what's going on? And
Yeah.
I see for somebody who might be weaker, they might start going into the role of the thug and the this and the that, whatever, because it keeps being put on them. When you're going in there, should not have been walking, a lot of things that should not have been happening, and you realize it. So I'm glad you do, and I'm not going to go too far and deep into it. But a lot of things that were happening, a normal quote unquote non-black person in a regular neighborhood would not have been put through any of that. And
Yeah.
it just shows you that the reason why you are with us today is because you have friends in much higher places. So no matter what, if it's your time to stay, then you're going to be right where you are. You
Yeah.
know, they're going to make sure of it. So the people at the lower levels can play all the games they want, but where you need to be is where you will be. You know, um,
Definitely.
there was a one NDE. Someone was telling me to tell you about this, where this guy was in war. He literally had been shot so many times it doesn't even make sense that he could be alive. Like I mean, it was like
Wow.
if I can find it, I'll send it to you. Next level. And literally, he came back from this very intricate NDE on the other side, came back, and it was like, nope, it's not your time. You got to keep going. He's like, how could I possibly live? He literally got up and was walking as barely as he can on the war front, on the battle, like just gradually getting his way to where he had to go, and still got shot 3 more times, and still made it alive to tell the
Wow.
story. So if it's not your time, you're not going anywhere.
Yeah. Absolutely. And it's crazy because like I've had like just all my life I've been through some crazy stuff and it's crazy. We'll stick to this one, but even as a I remember my mom telling me even as a like a small baby, a baby like in a car seat baby, like I wouldn't say newborn, but I had to wear a neck brace from a car wreck as a baby.
Mm,
So that little demon been trying to ride, been riding, been riding me out for some time, but
yeah.
like you said, speaking on the healing, yeah, I forgave that person, I forgave them, and it used to be hard, it used to be very hard, but you know, it was hard because I was ultimately denying what I had acquired. I had acquired so much love, and like you said, feeling like you have to adapt to the mind frame that you grew up in, or like like oh, you shouldn't forgive people. You should always, make sure they feel it or get them back, or and that's not the energy that um, the divine spirit resonates with. Don't
Yeah.
resonate with that spirit. So
Look at Jesus. If anybody could sit on here, if I could interview Yeshua, if anybody could sit and complain about how people did him wrong, you
yeah,
know, like
yeah,
it'd be a long interview, and he'd be like, and then, you
right.
know,
And again, to speak on what you were saying about why I felt that way in the living room, and it was ultimately just ego. I had to shed my ego as well. You know,
yeah,
I always, like I said, I was the guy around there that kind of had it together. I wasn't supposed to be around there. I don't think I looked down on people much. From not from my standpoint, I don't feel like that I did. But
yeah,
whatever maybe had rattled their demons, I was able to feel as they were watching me die, as they
yes,
thought I was gonna die in their face. I
yes.
was able
I'm
to
so
feel all that, but transmuting all that energy into positivity, that was just the strength for me to keep moving. I was able to use that as my strength ultimately too. So yeah,
yes.
it's
I'm telling you, I've been there before. Like I said, we're coming from a very unique uh group. Not, without going into extreme depth, whatever, but extremely unique. Like we have a lot of different things coming at us, and we are strong. Like I was just thinking that the other day, I'm like, wow, like we really are like insanely strong. Like you almost wonder, like if it's a prerequisite of any soul that comes in like this for this, in this avatar, is that you are a super soul, like a
yes,
warrior,
right.
because it's coming at you from every angle, and it's like you can't even be happy among your own. like that was a hard truth for me to understand. And for me, like I literally, because I ended up in a place where I, like you said, I was in the wrong place, the wrong time. And I had ended up in that because I was trying to help somebody who probably didn't deserve my help. When I think about it now, like he really should have been going through this life lesson. But I
Yeah.
put my all into helping someone and ended up being put in the mud, being put in a place where not to say that I shouldn't be there because I've been where I've had a lot of, not to say a lot of money, but just I've been in places where I could be considered the top, you know, ish in a way. And I never felt comfortable with that. But I also know that if you're in the gutter with everybody else, it's usually a very miserable place. And people are, like you said, their demons are going to come out and they're going to try to bring you down to their level.
Yeah.
Misery loves company.
Yeah. Talk
It's
about kick.
real.
Talk about being kicked while you're down. I infinitely felt it. And another thing it was too, it was just, what I spend a lot of my time doing the shadow work. I spend a lot of my downtime just finding ways to pick my old self apart and pick myself apart, not in a bad way, but just in a more freeing way, so I can realize if I'm ever in a rut, if I'm ever in a way, in a mood, or if I'm ever struggling to feel like I'm manifesting, or I'm struggling to feel like I'm connected to spirit, which we're always connected. But you know, I just I constantly do shadow work, and it get ugly. It gets ugly.
Mm.
Shadow work can be ugly. It can get really ugly, and it can get really emotional,
Yeah.
and you know, scary for some too.
And I like that. Another thing that I like that you said was that you mentioned that when you were looking, like I guess as you were being brought into well, you were walking because they were not doing their job once again, but walking to the ambulance, that it's like you saw different aspects of yourself within the people who were kind of looking. And so that's what I'm saying. So I'm glad that you mentioned the importance of shadow work because none of us are perfect. None of us. Even the people who are trying to heal and be spiritual, it's not like I'm better than. It's like, no, I see even the problems in me, but I want better for all of us, for
Absolutely,
myself, for you, for all of us, because we are one. We're one. And we don't
absolutely,
lift everybody up. If there's no souls who are willing to do the dirty work, to be in the neighborhoods that nobody wants to be in, because guess what? You get shot. If there's
right?
nobody willing, nobody who's not of that, not say of that level, but just spiritually on a higher level, going into those realms, because it really becomes a realm, to
Yeah,
help them out, then they will never get helped. And there's some people who believe that the whole earth plane is exactly that. It's literally angelic humans coming down and helping the souls that have been stuck in the lower realms who will also come, like we're in this meeting place where it's like, okay, we're trying to lift you up, get you out of the muck.
yeah,
And that's why no good deed goes unpunished. Like I've never understood that adage until today. I was like, oh, that's what that means. It's real. You
yeah,
know, so you got to if you are going to do the hard work and be a true super spiritual warrior, that's not just talk and just for the fad or whatever, then you have to know that you have to go into the muck, and it potentially could get dangerous. It's like going to battle,
yeah,
spiritual war.
absolutely, yeah,
So if
absolutely,
you see your experience not as this whole like the crucifixion or whatever, and something like that, where you would feel shame, embarrassment, or anything like that, but just saying that, okay, I did my time in war. Like you literally did a battle. That was the battle right there, and you
absolutely,
won. And not only did you win, but you had serious backup, like serious.
right,
Can they come join? Can they come help me out?
absolutely. They send me all your
you
way.
know so it's just like it's like you said, it's the way you look at it. It's the way you look at it, because there's somebody who had exactly the situation that you had. There are guys, and especially knowing how this system is, I can't think too long about some of the stories that have been out there and are out there and will be. I get terrified thinking about it. But know that there's somebody who let that turn them ugly, let them turn them where they are now the monsters walking the streets, because they were like, no, none of y'all, I'm done. And they turn into exactly who hurt them. That's always a possibility. I believe me, I fought that as well, but that's a whole nother thing you got to fight.
Yeah,
When you are
absolutely. I did
hurt,
too.
yes, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yep. And attracted people with the energy. And then again, learning how much I didn't want to feel like a victim. Man, it's so healing. This is so healing. But yeah, you know,
Oh.
it is. So yeah, I mean, it's just amazing, knowing and being aware and having the ability to perceive differently than what we were just grown up to
Yes.
feel or was taught to perceive, because life has so much to offer, but
Yes.
if you always sleep and you never or you always seeing things from being in defense and not seeing it as being powerful, you'll always miss the point. And I just hope someone sees that they're
Yeah.
powerful and that, if we hold ourselves accountable just a little bit, you could be in a more positive state because at least you know where everything's coming from. At least you know why things are the way they are. Because we're
Yes.
powerful people. We're powerful people.
Yes.
Like you said, especially us coming through with these super spirits and super souls. Like
It's like
it's
if we don't do it, who will? If we
yeah,
don't do it, who will? Nobody else is signing up for that.
yeah. No, for
You
real.
know, so it's like we have our time, like you said, you do the shadow work and I have my time, I'm hiding under the bed, forget on the bed, under the bed, crying my eyes out, and then I'm like, all right, I gotta get back out there, get back in the ring, you know?
Yeah.
But so because I had like 20 things I wanted to say with just that, but okay, so I'll just move on. So uh then so besides also all the things that were being done there, and then you have then you walking straight into a whole nother problem. So I just want people to also understand if you are not of color, so you just understand like this is the world. You could really literally not be a thug, not be a dealer or doing any of this stuff, and they will see you exactly like that. I
Yeah.
like that you gave them the out to say, okay, I was in that neighborhood, so maybe no, we're not allowed in certain areas, and I'll just leave it at that. I'm living that right now. We are literally kept out of the better places, and not because of economics. Sorry, no, it's because we're being pushed out, right? So we only have certain locations that we can live in these United States, and so even there are many, and I've lived in every kind of slum you can think of. There are plenty of good people in the slum that are doing nothing but hiding from the dealers as well, trying
Yeah.
to duck and dive from bullets as well. Like it's real.
Really.
So just because, so their bias already kind of shows that they are at a much lower level spiritually. You cannot be a higher level spiritual being and be racist. You just can't. And not
Yeah.
to say that we all have our moments where we get maybe tired of this. You living with, we have our little moments, but to be fundamentally racist means that you are asleep. Your soul is just like slumber. You're just completely in physical mode. Seriously, right? It's just one of the it's and I'm saying this not even like it's just me saying this. I'm saying this from research of what NDEers have come back and said. Like that's what number one. The first rule is that we're one. So if we're one, then how could you possibly be making all these segregating and
Yeah.
thinking that something's better than no?
So true. It's so true, and going through spirituality learning before I got shot, before I went through that major NDE, I went through so many different religions and so many different knowledges, and some of the knowledges don't really address everyone the same way, equal.
Mm,
Some, you know, pro pro knowledges are anti other, comes off like that. We say they're not anti, but a lot of pro campaigns, are anti other campaign, anti other campaigns of people. And
yeah,
going through that, I went through a stage of being very prejudiced and racist, and I
yeah.
problem is
And I mean,
real. Problem is real.
for us, like I don't want to say we get a we get a get a we get a card or we get a way to get through that, but it is a natural instinct. It really is. And it's a natural because it's a reflex. You see that all this is going against you, like to the point where you can literally barely breathe. And like I
Yeah,
said, I'm not saying this from like, oh, I used to be like this. I'm in this now where I barely can leave my house because they're stalking me. And so with that said, that's the natural. I literally have to fight that inclination every day. Anytime I start feeling like their energy is being transferred to me, and I'm because that's what's really happening. When as a black African American person, when you start going into being prejudiced or racist, a lot of times, besides it just maybe being your parents teaching you that, it's because it is it's a reflex. Or transmutation of that energy. Their energy is becoming your energy as a way for you to protect yourself.
yeah,
And then I've literally told family members, I'm like, we cannot be that way. We cannot. You can't allow, you're supposed to be teaching somebody else and you're going to let the student who's doing something obviously wrong make you start doing that thing that's wrong. That's
right.
not you. Then you're not a teacher. You're not ready yet, you know? So that's as you're trying to progress spiritually, you have to get to a point where you see that it's happening. You don't get to a point where, okay, I love everybody, nobody's trying to hurt me, because then that's a good way to get hurt. You know, you got to know what's happening, be aware, but you have to be some rise above it, because ultimately we cannot allow ourselves to be pulled down to their level. And
Yeah,
that's what
absolutely.
will be happening. And then you can't teach anybody anything.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So, and I'm telling you, it's a constant battle, but because it's not like it's going to, just because you're thinking, oh, we're all one, that it's going to make everything better. No, you're still going to come across situations where they think you're a thug, they're treating you like this, they're treating you like that. And you're just kind of like, don't let it, just don't, it's transmutation. Take that energy, like reflect it right back to them. Return to sender. There you go.
Yeah.
Keep it.
Yeah, like now, like I'm I'm such a spirit now. Like I don't even see people
Yeah.
in color a
Just
lot
like,
of times.
okay.
I don't even see people in color like a lot of times.
Yeah.
I can get along with so many different people, and I can be in a room with so many different kinds of people at this point.
Yeah.
And it's appreciated. It's
Yeah.
appreciated because you know it can stifle your growth depending on what you want to do in life. It can, and I won't let it stop me though. I won't let it stop.
Yeah. Remember, you have to keep in mind that you are, how they say, like, you're like the forerunner, or you're like somebody who, like, you, it's our job to fix this.
Hmm.
Like, no one else is going to fix this for us, and especially not the people that we're talking about. They don't know any better.
Yeah,
When you start seeing them, not to say that you do it in a way that you just say, okay, I'm gonna, keep allow them to attack, and you're not going to have any armor, but you also have to know that they literally don't know any better. And I have taught people, I have, it takes a lot longer than slapping somebody up, you know but it's if you gradually help somebody to see that you're different, and that what they're doing is not only unhealthy for all of us, but really unhealthy for them. Because people don't understand, cancer comes from hate. It stems from hate. Google it. Like, you'll hear enough NDEers come back and say the same thing about cancer.
yeah,
So really put some thought into that. That is, and if it's not your hate, because it could be coming from generational hate, because we
yeah,
are our DNA. Like, it comes through us. So unless you want that, these illnesses or diseases to become part of your system, then you need to just be like water. You have to accept all of us. You have to love all of us, because we're all one family, whether we want to be or not. Because maybe niggas don't want it, but guess what? It's kind of part of the game here.
yeah,
So yeah, so just really, like you said, the way you see it, you just got to just get it to a point, because it really could be a part where most of the men in my family died from heart attack and stroke. And if people don't understand that, it's not like it's bad eating and this, not whatever. As African Americans, if you really don't understand your strength and your spirituality, you are walking around with a broken heart all day. Easy, because our heart is broken on a regular basis by our own and from the whole system that doesn't want us alive.
yeah. Man,
So
it's deep.
I don't want to go too deep into this, but I do want to mention something else I literally saw recently, and you might have seen it. It was on the Jeff Maurer podcast. A brother from New York City, like me, but he's living out west, and he was in the hospital. He said that he literally, because he was saying things that was making me think, like, was he safe? Like, it was during COVID too, so family couldn't be there. I was like, is he
Oh
gonna make
man.
it? If he wasn't telling the story, I'd be like, is he gonna make it? Like, they're doing some wishy-washy stuff.
Yeah,
Um, but he eventually got to a point where he was out of his body, and he literally had a meeting with, I guess, the souls of the people in the hospital that were playing the games, and he was like, look, y'all better get yourself together. Like,
yeah,
I will haunt all of you. Like, you don't know who I am. On this, as a spiritual level, I will come back and get you all. Like,
absolutely.
do me right. you know and then lo and behold, everything just started to work out, and he's getting out of, he started getting better, and clearly he's well enough to, but I said, I am so glad you had that moment. He called it Scorpio rising. I said, I'm glad for your Scorpio rising moment, because I was starting to get concerned, brother.
Yeah,
Like, there were things that they
man,
should have done that they weren't, and this and that. So people understand that we deal with, besides all the just the clear, racism, whatever, even in the hospitals, is the issue where if it's not outright racism, then it's subconscious.
yeah,
And then that can segue us into the EMTs. Like, this is one. There are a few, like, the first responders that I generally overall just think, okay, wow, they're doing a great job. Thank you, God bless them. Like, these are people who want to help no matter what. EMTs are generally under that, and firemen and stuff like that. Until, of course, I went to an all white town, and I realized, oh, okay, not really for us though. you know? So for them to even be acting as if they were the police off the back, asking you way too many questions for somebody who was bleeding out. You know what I mean? So like people who are not understanding that racism is real and really legitimately or not, it's just not, computing. Imagine, and if you're not a person of color, imagine yourself or one of your family members in that situation and all the things that were not done or pushed back and potentially weren't going to be done because of his color and where he was at the time. I don't care if you're the biggest drug dealer in the world, the biggest thug in the world, the biggest whatever, you're still human. And you have the chance and the capacity to do better. But not if,
Exactly. And
right?
change. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, and especially if people are treating you better. Like generally people who are going in the wrong route, it's like you don't keep throwing sticks and rocks at them. It just makes them more aggressive. You do have to have a point where you shower them with understanding and love and then expectations of being better. Not saying, oh, I don't think we're gonna save this one because he's not. And then I'll tell you what the real was behind that is that they want it's like a 2-for-1 sale. Like if perhaps you didn't make it, they have one less off the street. That that's kind of
Yeah.
they're racist. That's how they feel, and then they think let's get another one in the jail system.
Yeah.
And you weren't helping them out with that.
Yeah.
Like so, and forget the Hippocratic oath: do no harm, do everything in your will to help somebody out. Like so, if people again, you don't understand why Black people are in the state that they're in every way possible, economically, physically, socially, emotionally, psychologically, is because constant war, fear, but not straight in your face like what's happening overseas. It's very, very systematic and quiet and psychotic, really, right? Psychotic. So, but I had mentioned your story to somebody, and they said it doesn't matter what they would have done or not have done. And I mean, if you read it, watch enough NDEs, like the one I sent to you with the guy who was out for like some crazy 45 minutes, he was dead or something, just something crazy. And remembering that story, the reason why I sent it to you was because you had the two MTs that were like, he's dead, bag him up, literally
Yeah.
bags him up, and we're just
Yeah.
moving on. And then you had that one. Now listen to how important this is, and it just shows you that if God's not ready for you to go, you will not go. And I know this from my own experience, but just all right. So the third one, the new rookie, the one that nobody's listening to, is in the back just sitting there freaking out because he's like, Doug, I don't want him to, like I don't want my first one to be a death and da da da. And then it wasn't that he just decided, let me try to do something, because what he did was really out of the norm. Like anybody
Yeah.
else, he probably would have lost his job, just
Yeah. I
started
would
and
say
then
he
lost
probably
his
broke
job.
code. Yeah, I'm sure he probably broke
Completely,
code.
completely. But a voice, remember the guy who had the NDE, he heard a voice, God, whatever, saying, not this one is still alive. This one you can save. And it didn't say it once or twice. It said it enough until he finally started moving and saying, okay, let me see what I can do.
Mm-hmm.
So again, they're playing these little trivial dramas right here. Like you said, movie. You kept seeing movie scenes. They're
Yeah.
playing in the movie, and then you got the big dogs up here, really calling the shots.
Yeah.
So you only stress if you're living in that movie. If you're an avatar and you've allowed them to put you in a role and you feel like you're playing a role, then yes, be very
Mm-hmm.
concerned every day, be anxious, be stressful. If you're living in the upper echelon, there's no stress. This is a game. This is a matrix. This is a hologram. It's not real. You're always okay. You're always loved. You are eternal. And the way that you're really eternal is when you're good. When you're on in my opinion, I told you this before, I feel like if you go on the wrong route, that yes, eventually God might say, look, I'm ready for everybody to come back home. You're still playing games. I'm watching you. I'm clearing you out. Recycle. But if you're on the up and up and you're trying, you have no ending. No ending. And this is the equivalent. This realm is the equivalent of hell. Like everything outside of this is just on the up and up. It's all good. It's all, I mean, like the stories you hear is just like, oh wow, why are
Yeah.
we here again? Why are we doing this?
Really, like, man, that's what brings back the like some people, like I went through some post-traumatic stress behind that, but that was why people think it's because of think it's the opposite. Like, no, I've been to a place so good, this makes me anxious. This makes me
Yes.
being
And,
here.
and
Like,
and you're lucky it's just PTSD because most come back and they say they're depressed for like, I mean, some people say years. I'm like 10 years of depression. I don't even want to say how because I don't want to know, but years. So
yeah,
yes,
I went through a depression for some years too, and
wow.
and it's not like that I still don't go through it or realize it, because it's stored in our bodies. As you know, it's stored in our bodies, and but being aware of it, it can always get to you if you're not aware. That's the beauty of being woke. And having that spiritual awareness, because you know at times you might think about it, or you might see things that remind you of it. If you go down that streamline, that thought streamline, that's just, it can get you like that. But when
Yeah.
you're aware and you're like, no, okay, no, that's not the best thing. Not even just having to, you know, light a flame to the thought, but just realizing not to get in those motions, that energy in motion.
Hmm.
Like, no, that'll help you
Yeah.
from actually becoming depressed. But it's a daily task.
Hmm.
This, spirituality can become an autopilot, when you're doing your thing, when you really in, knee deep and things of that nature. But it's like you said, it's a test. It's a daily test sometimes.
Yes.
Wake up,
Yes.
just being grateful. Things that, small things like that. So yeah,
Yes.
major.
And I like you said, you wake up being grateful. So it's like really kind of somebody had, I think it was in that same NDE where the guy said he believed in the hour of power. So he said the first 30 minutes of your day, what do you feel it
Yeah.
with in the last 30 minutes of your day? And so if you're feeling it with I am, it's like I am blessed, I am lucky, I am, I'm good, and and I actually had that conversation with my niece earlier today, just kind of just saying how important it is for us to reprogram ourselves into positivity, and it really can change it. And she was even mentioning that she started praying more, and she's like, it really just changed my whole outlook on everything. Like it's just so much more positive. So, I would just definitely suggest for people going through PTSD and just people in general, and especially if you are a quote unquote minority or oppressed or suppressed group, whatever, you have to keep reprogramming yourself because every day you walk outside your door, you're dealing with the program of somebody else who doesn't really care
Yeah.
about you. So there's no way you could really truly be loving yourself if you're, unless you're just superpower and you're just not letting it get to you. Like we all have those days where we're kind of, like you said, something might happen and all those armor that you have might be down, and that's when it gets you. So it's like you have to make sure you're building that armor first thing in the morning. I am lucky, I am blessed, I'm here on a mission. And that goes into another question I had. So I got through kind of the bulk of that. But do you feel like you're here on a mission?
I do. I do. I like kind of what you said, just bringing that good frequency vibration, uplifting the world out of that slumber. Um, like I've said before, sometimes it can happen through some of the slightest happenings, just going to work every day and a person seeing how you deal with things or how you respond to things, how you respond to people, or somebody knowing your situation and seeing how you respond to your man. I thought I had it bad at home, dang, I really don't got it that bad, or a lot of it was up to me a lot of times because I was always in a bad mood, and how I responded to this person, I always just responded in a bad mood. And, things could have been better a long time ago, but, thanks to you, you brought this awareness to me. So yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
it's so divine.
That's why I used to love the Liberty Mutual commercials because to me, especially living in the city, I literally felt like first of all, even when I was in a situation where it was dangerous for me to leave the house, I would leave because there were times that I literally was getting that nudge from like God or whatever saying, I need you elsewhere, I need you at the park or something like that. And I literally the days I would go out there, I would see like one time I think I saw a little boy who was about to be, maybe hurt by somebody, whatever, and I helped that. It was another time I saw this guy repeatedly just laying out, like he clearly was homeless in the middle of, I mean, young guy, like he probably should have been at home in the middle of the basketball court, and I would just always just put a bottle of water there, just put a bottle of water, just something so that he knows that somebody cares and that he'll be okay or whatever. And so just those little things though. And I noticed if I did it earlier in the day, especially in the city, because the city is like a big domino, whatever.
Mhm.
If the city started off on a bad note, you can feel it throughout the rest of the day. It's just like, don't go out. Everybody's ready to fight. Everybody's ready to fight.
Yeah,
you
right,
know,
right.
but if it starts on a good note where somebody helped a stranger or helped somebody with this or did that, whatever, you could just feel like I love those days in
Yeah,
the city. I would just be like, yes, unicorn, flowers, happy, It's like something went right this morning, like everybody's in a nice, good mood. And it's because it's contagious. Energy is contagious, you
yeah,
know? So it's like even when I say the mission, like you're saying, just to increase the vibe, if you're in a place where it is dangerous and you know people are going to come at you because you're smiling too much, you're too happy, or it looks like you have more money or something than them, you know, unfortunately, you got to keep that in mind that that's an issue. Um, is you have to know that even your, and I've heard this before too, just you being in a space, your energy, especially if you're putting out strong energy vibes, just
Yeah,
being in a certain locale, you can gradually change and uplift the energy around you, you know? So yeah, I totally agree that that's possible.
yeah,
Um, let me see. So, let me see what other question I have. So I think a lot of these I answered. So the light. This is the part that I wanted to stay in for a while, right? Because you said more here than in previous podcasts. So there's things I didn't know. So the
yeah.
first, we're gonna separate it into the first experience you had with the light. You know, when you were sitting at the table, I think, right?
Mhm.
And then the second one, which when was the second one? Like when you were
The
passing.
second one, it started in the ambulance. Yeah,
Okay, okay, okay. So when you're saying that it was writing its language, first off, this is very new. You know that you're very unique here. I've probably seen thousands of NDEs and I've never heard of it. You know, I've heard of lights and I've heard of purple. Like people seeing purple as a protective thing, and I used to assume it's an archangel. But to see it writing, total first, awesomeness. So do you know what it was writing, or was kind of just annoying? Were they writing in English? Were they writing in light code? What was happening?
yeah. It was. It had to be a light code. It because it wasn't an English thing. Through that whole entire time, I don't think I heard an English voice, English language the entire time. But I was
Wow.
filled up. I knew everything. I knew everything I needed to know. I was so connected. I
Wow.
was so like you say, upper echelon, and I was so grounded at the same time. You know, it was that experience was so, man, it's like so unreal. Like a person wouldn't even believe how it feels to be so connected to
Mm.
everything, in that moment. That's the moment, a true moment of bliss. It's a true
Let me
moment.
tell you something that I think might be a secret, right?
Yeah,
Because I've heard this for other people that they were able to go back into their NDE at certain points where they were given either knowledge or something like that, or healing. Healing is a big thing. They'll go back to a point where they were given healing and they can get back into that energy. They literally, it's like they're reconnecting with whatever spirits were there, whatever energy was there. So my suggestion is that during your meditations, you go back to at least the first one. The first one sounds like it was like off the charts. That first experience with them, with the light, put yourself right back in that space. Whatever that space was, put yourself back in that space and really visualize the light code and all that stuff. And that might be what was is going to heal you. Period. Just
yeah,
being back with them, because remember they have the ability to heal you completely,
yeah.
right? Okay,
Ab-
we're aware of this, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. It's funny you said that. I actually went to that site the other day.
Mm,
I went to the site the other day, and I stood there for a minute and just soaked it all up. You
mm,
know, just was you know was essentially, like you said, was gaining more healing energy. I just was allowing it to just go through the story over. I just kept looking around for evidence, and they had revamped those. They had rehabbed those, remodeled those whole. It was apartments, that whole apartment complex, and I kept looking around for synchronicity or something, and
mm.
there was one. There was one. It was the apartment number. It was 3678, and it was just, the simultaneous numbers being in order, like everything
Wow.
is in order, everything is right. You're on the right path. This is meant to happen. Don't
Yeah.
doubt this event, because essentially, when it comes to my body, I deal with that every day. So I think of it. I think of it. It was times I would think of it every day, all day.
Mm.
And I used to feel like it was, for a while, I used to feel like, man, this is haunting me. This is haunting me. And I transmuted all the energy, and I I just I feel like it's one of the best things that ever happened. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
it gives me
And
my light, it gives me my purpose, it gives me everything. You know,
you are so blessed. Like you don't, I mean, you're starting to understand, so I'm not going to say this too long, but you are so blessed. Like, are you kidding me?
yeah, I
That
am.
whole situation minus the light, with minus the celestial intervention, is something that you'd be in therapy forever. Like, you know what I mean? Like enough. Anybody would be.
Yeah,
But it showed you that it showed you so much. It taught you so much. It was a gift, an absolute gift. And it's not like, I mean, I feel like I would feel shame if I was the one trying to rob somebody or do something like that. Like, I mean, it wasn't like you were living that life or anything. Like, this was something that is just out of your control. And you were, like you said, when you're saying shame, it's not shame. It's like you just have these people who don't know any better. Forgive them for they know not what they do. And every level around that, you just had that around you. And hopefully, like you said, from seeing how you transmuted that energy and you didn't let it bring you down, somebody, at least one person is going to learn and get better and figure it out from that, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, there should be no shame at all, no embarrassment at all, none. Like you said, that's ego. You drop that. Drop it,
Yeah.
drop it, drop it. Whatever they had to learn, you stood in the place for them to learn. Whatever you needed to learn, you pulled out of it. You did the shadow work. It's just a story now, and not only a story, is it, it was, oh, very important for me to mention is that there are people who say the only way, not to say the only way, but well, yes, the only way to kind of get into this advanced spiritual state while we're in these bodies is to die.
Yeah.
And I'm not
Absolutely.
promoting, I'm not promoting, anybody to start jumping off cliffs and stuff, whatever, because some people do say it doesn't have to be a physical death. Like you could do this through dropping the ego and forgetting who
Absolutely.
you are in this role, in this body, in this time. And so that would be the way to do it, just through, visualization and meditation. But that is the key. That is the way to open up those doors, is through that, the death of the ego, or the body, you know
Yeah.
and so that was you can see it as an initiation to
Yeah.
the higher levels, and
Absolutely.
that's it. It's nothing else but that, you know so you now know that you have protectors. And let's go into the light. Who do you think the light is? Like, you mentioned spirit guide, but just tell me who you thought it was right off the back, like when it first happened, and then who you gradually started, because people sometimes do that, where they'll have a first thought of what something might be, and then it starts to change as they start to learn more.
So yeah, it has changed over time how I felt about it. Essentially, I think it's just an awareness energy that births us, like the divine feminine energy, and then that blue being the divine masculine energy. And I feel like those are just awareness spirits that, like, essentially where we come from. We come from, um, people say, where do you come from? We come from a baby. Where do you come from? You come from, the stars. Where do you come from? Where the stars come from? It comes from an awareness, from just a spark of us being, all possibilities of, like you said, to be with God is to be without the body, to be nothing, to be nothing. And I feel like that spirit was just a duality of the spirit, of spirit. And it was just, it was so active. It was, yeah, it was so active. Yeah, I like, just think about it again. Just, it was so active and
Protective. I use the word protective.
hectic.
That's what it was. I'm telling you. I so
Yeah,
I don't just. I mean, I don't do these interviews all the time. I'm not getting anything from it. It might even keep me up all night, editing and stuff. But when I saw your video, and I was just so upset with the EMTs. Like, I literally wrote a whole, and nobody was responding to it. I finally found one woman who said, "What's up with those EMTs?" But I
yeah,
literally went through all these comments, and nobody's. I'm like, hello. I stopped the whole video. Okay, and I wrote a whole long paragraph before I finished the video, because I was just like, no, 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 no.
yeah,
You don't make that choice. You are not God to make the choice of life and death. Do your job, you know? But yes, I was like, I have to speak to him. I have to speak to him 100%. And so I'm so glad it's happening now. And I do feel like, I'm telling you, like, when sometimes I have just a regular interview, but other times I feel like there are angels or God or something's here,
yeah,
you know? So I think this is going to be healing for you. I definitely think so. I think we're
yeah.
we're not alone.
It is. It is. It's very healing. I'm in my crown so much right now. Like, I keep feeling like right now I keep feeling myself in and out. But no, I keep coming through my crown. This is a very healing space right now, and I'm so protected. I'm so protected and well respected in the esoteric realm. So, like, thank you for even for noticing. But
Yes,
yeah,
yes,
you
yes,
are
yes.
too, because you are too.
Yes. Oh yeah. I'm telling you, I've come from every hood you can think of. And I've been through every kind of situation, like things that people would not be able to function right, you know. And I've made it through because I am 1,000,000% protected, you know, and I am here on a mission. Okay, so just so because you saying that they was probably speaking like well writing like code, and even that is just so interesting to me. Like, do you feel like there's a reason why first that they didn't appear to you as anything but light, and that they were just sending you the written word? Is there any connection to who you are or who you were? You know.
Um, you know what? It may have been where I was at in my studies. I feel like, you know, during that time I felt like everything was kind of, it was like a mirror, but it was like the real version of you, the real version. So
Hmm.
even if even if I didn't want to see it, I was able to see it, because I had to drop my ego, I had to drop all these different things. So once the mirror was up to me, it was like, oh, that's that. Oh, that's
Hmm.
that, and that's that. And essentially it was just like it was just I couldn't help but know know myself and everything around me, know my experience. I couldn't help but notice. I couldn't help but know it.
Yeah.
But it was
And
just, man, it's I can try to put it in words. There's so much to it,
yeah,
it's
yeah.
but yeah.
But it showed you your life as well. You mentioned that it knew you better than you know yourself, and that it showed you your life. Did you literally see that as a movie going by as well? Like, did you have the life review that?
I did it. It was crazy. I saw a few different aspects of myself, and it was also like a past me, a future me. It was different. It was strange. Um, like I said, it showed me, it wired me to, because when you hear people say near death experience, a lot of times it's like an ending, but that was like the beginning of everything. It was like,
Mm,
you hear people say, yeah, this, that, and the other. I happen to like this, and it's like the end of a movie. But for me, it was like the beginning. It was just like the beginning,
rebirth.
rebirth.
Yes.
Rebirth. That's why it's like I'm just getting started.
Hmm.
I got all the answers to who I used to be, but who I'm
Hmm.
becoming, it's like it's ever changing. And it's so
Yeah.
beautiful and it's so divine. And like seriously, I I walk around just feeling so high vibrational and protected.
Yeah.
Sometimes I have to. I ain't gonna say I have to, but sometimes I just keep that protection face on, like that game face on, because it's like, you won't take this happiness from me. You won't take this experience from me.
Because you won't break my soul. I
Yeah,
love that
yeah,
song.
yeah, yeah,
Yes, Beyonce.
yeah. Beyonce spirit. Yeah, because that's part of my mission. Speaking on people, helping people speak on their fears, and what
Mhm.
facing their fears and fighting through fear every day. Because if you went through anything like I've went through, and you still, dealing with it, then you understand it comes with a lot of fear. And a lot of it can make you like the super tough guy or the super tough girl. But in essentially, it's just fear because you afraid of something happening to you again.
Yeah.
you know and I went through it for a while, and like I said, just like depression and fear, it could try to come up in your everyday. You can be reminded in your everyday, even when you're protecting it and doing your divine thing.
Yeah.
It can still try to show up. But
Yeah.
being healed and making sure you're doing your shadow work, you're gonna get tested. You're gonna be shown, that mirror's gonna show up again, and you're gonna be seen, what's what. And it's ultimately up to you to slow down, be breathing in the right. Breath work does everything for me.
Yes.
Breath work puts me in a space of, all knowing. So
Yes.
if you're doing your breath work, if you're taking the time to be in the now and actually, experiencing, you can break a lot of things that you might be going through. Because essentially, if you're thinking a certain way, if you're probably drifting off, if you probably going through something vibrationally, you probably aren't you probably aren't in the right space. You probably
Yeah.
think about something else, or you probably drifted off some
Yeah.
at some point. But yeah.
And I'm glad you mentioned breath work because it's not something that maybe a lot of us, quote unquote, in these avatars understand in this lifetime. And it's something that is so healing because the breath is like God. It's spirit. That's why you have Qi Gong and Tai Chi and all these things,
Mm,
moving that spirit, keeping the energy moving, So it's definitely something that's healing. And I like that you mentioned that, like, kind of, you were mentioning that kind of, it's like you won't break my soul, right? You're not going to take my joy
mhm,
or steal my joy. But I've noticed that, especially for us, since we're part of communities that have a lot of trauma, right? And a lot of sadness. I think part of it, and it's something that even I have to learn myself, because maybe if I look back and start doing more of my shadow work, I'll realize that there's times that, granted, I can't, and I was even having this conversation with my mother, like, how do I shine and be who I am and not make these people jealous? Like, what is the balance, Um, so it's not for you to dim your shine because you have to shine so that they know that they can shine. So it's more of a collaborative thing where it's like, if you and not to say that you do this too much, because again, you could be going in places where people just are not going to hear it, they're just going to attack. So you got to balance whether or not this is a place where you do this or you don't.
mm,
Everything is a question mark. You take each situation and each person as you feel it, what your
mhm.
your feeling is. But once you find somebody that you feel is open and is wanting to learn and to build and stuff like that, if one thing I've noticed with people is that you scratch my back, I scratch yours. If you are providing a way for them to get out of their trauma, to get out of their turmoil, and to shine and to be bigger, better, then you
Yeah,
have less of that jealousy because you're pulling them up as you're going up. It's not just I'm up here, you're down there. It's like, let's get up together. Let me help you get to where I'm at, and then you can shine and move past me if you want to. You can stay here, do whatever you want to, but I'm going to help you up. And it's only for certain people. But again, some people still will try to just pull you down. They don't even want to try to pull themselves up, and but they want to pull you down. But you'll
yeah,
have that every now and then. You'll feel it. You have to test it out and feel around and say, okay, I think this is one that wants to be pulled up and is gonna, it's fine. But yeah, so I think that's the way to kind of avoid avoid that. And then other ones, when you get that energy, like, no, you just want to pull me down, I'm good. Then you just
yeah,
start skirting. Like, you can't get me. you
yeah.
know. I love when you said that it was like the blue light. I want to find out who these spirits are. I'm like, come visit me. Let's talk. Like, thank you
Yeah.
for taking care of my brother, but let's talk. But I love that it was doing a DNA letter. I mean, DNA symbol. But I
Yeah,
also wanted to ask you, do you feel like it was the infinity? Because DNA is like this, and then
yeah,
infinity is like the sideways eight.
yeah. So like it was going for so long, it was doing a lot of abstract things. I felt like it might have been even recreating my body, my new astral body, because
Wow.
because if you think about it, had I passed away, if I truly had passed away, I have a new birthday, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So to speak, so
Yeah.
it's put me a new star in the sky. It's put me a new star in the sky in a different location. It was very close
Yeah.
because one thing I believe though, one thing I truly believe is if is people's passing dates. If
Hmm.
they passed in like a month or two near their birthday, then I
Hmm.
feel like it was. I mean, it's all divine, but
Yeah.
I feel
Yeah.
like it was more natural or wrote in the sky. But
Yeah.
if it was a time way far from their birthday, then it
Mm.
was like a happy. It was like a mistake, something that was like
Mm.
not necessarily designed, to our 3D minds. But
Yeah.
check that out if you get a chance. Check people's passing dates, and you'll realize a lot of people pass near their birthday.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah.
I was near
Yeah.
mine too. It was the fourth. My birthday is the
Oh,
30th.
wow.
So yeah,
Wow.
that was the 4th of November. Mine is the 30th. So it was just like that was something else Spirit showed me. It's like pay attention to this.
Yeah. Yeah. And so that kind of goes into, like, well, I mean, the overall question I'm going to have for you is, like, do you feel like you had psychic or different powers after it ended? Because it sounded like during the experience you were tapping into telepathy for sure. Like, you were hearing what, people's thoughts and stuff. And then just knowing, like, there were certain things that you were just kind of like, you felt like you had all this information, which people generally, have that experience as well. Um, But yeah, so did you feel like you were, you received any kind of extra sensory type things afterwards?
Yeah, emotional senses for sure, like empathic, just being able to feel and having inklings and my my intuition overall being more powerful. And like if I'm writing, if affirming, I can really like articulate spirit too. Like if somebody can be explaining to me a story or trying to get me to understand something, and I can articulate it extremely well. Like that's
Hmm.
exactly what I'm saying. I'm like, yeah, yeah.
Wow.
Like
No,
so.
wait. You said you're writing. Writing what?
Well, I've been working on some material, but for a long time I was a music artist, but um, I've been jotting, thinking about creating some book material too, some book material. Yeah,
Because think about it. It came. Remember, I said, do you think there's any significance of it coming and writing to you? Like
fact.
they're very symbolic. They're probably like, hey, hi, I'm writing to you. You write back. You know?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I love to write.
Wow.
I journal a lot. I journal all the time. I mean, I got just books on books that's just finished from front to back. Uh,
Wow.
dream journals and gold journals. So
Mm.
yeah, yeah, moon. What do you call it? Moon. Manifesting with the moon as well.
Okay. But I think you should definitely focus whatever you're doing writing wise. I really feel like that was their sign, like, hello, we need you to do this, So stay in tune with that. If you start feeling like you are being urged to do something or write something, that
Yeah,
could be the way. Remember, that's also the safe way because I've written, I got to start working on my book series, whatever. But the safe way where you don't want to kind of be, on the battlefield, basically, because
yeah,
you can still get the knowledge out through video and writing and song and stuff like that and still help people, you know.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Oh, wait, hold on. One other question. So what has been helping you with PTSD? Like what are things besides breath work that you wanted to tell people that are, because I told you there's a lot of us that go have PTSD whether we know it or not.
Yeah.
So what are some ways that you felt are helpful in healing?
Okay. So for sure. Um, I would say two things for sure. You have to affirm trust within yourself. You have to affirm trust within yourself because if you don't trust yourself, you're never at the right place at the right time. You're never saying the right words. You don't trust your words. You don't know whose voice you're hearing. When you don't trust yourself, you don't trust others around you. You don't, when you don't trust yourself, you don't know if it's truly your intuition, you know. So affirming your trust within yourself, even if you don't agree with it yet, even if you don't believe yourself, affirm your trust. I trust myself. I trust myself. I trust myself with the words that I say. I trust myself with where I decide to take myself in enter spaces. I trust myself with the people that I deal with and who I bring around me. I trust myself with everything. You have to put yourself in a space of trust. Affirming trust, you have to affirm that you are releasing the so-called disease, the so-called depression. You have to affirm it. For a long time, I would look out the window and just peek it out. Hey, somebody, anybody,
Oh, yeah, yeah.
right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Somebody looking for somebody looking for. Hold on, it was bad, and I mean,
Oh.
it was bad. I would just pace around the house, like a soldier. I would just pace and
Yeah.
just always be on guard. And I started affirming myself. I was wearing myself tired. I was
Mm,
like, okay, man. If anybody was to be watching me right now, if anybody, they would think I was crazy. You
mhm,
know, and so I started affirming. Everything is fine. You are not in danger. No one is looking for you. No one is coming after you. And along with me trusting myself, I told myself that I was on the right path. I told myself that I was doing what was best for me, and you know I just continue to create these high vibrational affirmations. I have joy. I have gratefulness oozing from my spirit. I have peace within my spirit. I have protection in all realms. I'm protected in all realms. Everyone around me wants me to be more, do more, and have more. Everyone around me wants me to be protected, to be happy, to be joyful, to be in harmonious energies, and to, whatever, I would come up with um, the best affirmations that I could, share with myself and universe to resonate with, even if I didn't believe it. And
Mhm.
I noticed after so long, I was like, hold on, I haven't looked. I have to tell myself, hold on, you haven't looked out the window. Okay, I don't gotta remind my okay, I gotta remind myself now. I'm doing this is working. I'm doing better because it was times, man. I tell you, I always felt
Oh,
like somebody was after me after that, you
yeah.
know. But I was just so I learned to use that emotional sense because of what it was. It raised my emotional senses. I became,
Mhm.
empathic. I just realized it was my environment around me. I could just feel people. I could feel different spirits. I could feel different essences, and
Mhm.
and probably blocks away, And I had to realize, and for a while, I had to just kind of cut off my spiritual gifts. For a while, I had to cut them off and kind of
Mhm.
be back in that neutral space because, you know, we're powerful people with this, spiritual powers. You can do negative things if you choose to. I hope that no one chooses to do negative with their power, with
Yeah.
their gifts. But for a while I was confusing myself, and I was like,
Mhm.
no, I have to really put myself on the path, of God, of the true one true, excuse me, the true spirit of God, and really, stop confusing myself.
Yeah, yeah.
Say, confusion
100%.
is the devil. Confusion is the spirit of
Mhm.
is a
Chaos.
yeah, yeah, the spirit of chaos. Yeah,
Mhm.
that was two of my major things: affirming trust and affirming my protection.
Yes, yes. And you don't know how many people I mean, God willing, this video will be up and around, and people will see it. But you don't
It
know
will.
how many people you will help with just that. Because I mean, I went through my own situation, and you just really just helped me even with that. Just knowing that yes, you can have a situation where it makes perfect sense for your response to be like, who's out there, who's out, But like you said, it's why it's called psychological warfare. It literally can drive you crazy. And it's like you can't help anybody if you're sitting there struggling to just maintain. If every day you are freaking the heck out, how are you helping anybody? How are you on your mission? So even
Yeah,
as a soldier, you have to find a way to cope and to get everything under wraps so that you can help the person next to you who really, really needs help. So,
yeah,
and even with just epigenetics, you don't want to, if you plan on reproducing or potentially reproducing, you don't want to be
facts.
passing any of this stress and strain to anybody else. So you want to get it under wraps here so that it doesn't go to the generations, to come. Um,
Absolutely.
and then for again for any, not just keep everything black and white, but just for any group that is being suppressed or oppressed for whatever reason, because we're talking to any of them, there's a lot of stuff that will happen in your life that'll put you in a place where whether you know it or not, have PTSD, where you're looking out and scared of this, that, and the other, even your own shadow. And affirmations are so important. So I'm glad you said that. There are people who say that I am, like, when you find it in the Bible where it says I am that I am or something like that, that it literally is the name of God. I am is the name of God. So when you're having affirmations that start with I am, they're even more powerful than the normal affirmation. I am protected. I am blessed. I am lucky. And you are reprogramming as corny as it might feel at first, especially if you're coming from the hood and you're like, what affirmations? Like, figure it out because it works. You are reprogramming your whole everything. Forget just the brain, your whole energy here, and bringing it up to a higher vibe. This is the most important thing probably going to say here is that so when you're pulling it to a higher vibe through these affirmations and the reprogramming, like attracts like. If you are in a bad situation, if you are able to be strong enough to get your vibration high enough, you will repel all of that negativity. It cannot be around you comfortably. It'll try to stick to you. It can't be near you comfortably. That's why when you're in a situation when you feel like the environment is negative or this, that, and the other, if you are strong enough to stop yourself, center yourself and bring yourself to a higher vibration through gratitude, through positive affirmations, through love and protecting yourself, surrounding yourself in the divine golden shield or whatever you decide to do, all this stuff they cannot handle. They don't want any part of it. They're going to start to scatter.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Them shadows always show themselves.
hmm All right.
Yes.
So the last thing is just, tell me, well, the second to last thing is your message for the world. Like if you were to just give a message to, the world right now, the earth, the people on it, or a particular group or whatever, what would be your message? And then we're going to end with how to connect with you and how to send you some money.
Okay. For sure. Thank you. Okay, so boom. Okay. If I was to be able to, if I had to say anything to the people, I would tell them that everything starts in our mind, in our awareness. Um, you know, we have a starting point to where what we choose to participate in a lot of times, and what we claim what is. So if you can manage to start in your mind and see where the root of your thought process or your streamline, you can for one manifest what your truest desire simply, a whole lot simpler in my experience. And for two, you know, you can do some major shadow work from that space. Now you have to be able to hold yourself accountable. A lot of times we feel like our whole world will crumble if we hold ourselves accountable and say, "Dang, I was wrong," and we feel like it's going to be this hard domino effect, this hard karma that or the tower moment. If into tarot, um, we feel like that moment is going to come, and it may, but you need to know that it is essentially for your highest good. But I would tell people to start in their mind. Start manifesting from your mind first. A lot of times, people want to, have a lot of goals and plans, spiritually or physically, but they start in the physical. And as we know, the physical is where things really happen last. The physical is what plays out after we started in our minds and our mentalities. So again, everything starts in the mind. Manifest from your mind first, and push out from inside. Push from inside out. Excuse me. Push out from inside out. What was the other question?
And now, how do people connect with you, if you want them to connect with you? And then, how then I'll just add later on if they want to send you money,
Okay,
put up the PayPal or something.
for sure. Yeah, and if you want to connect with me, you can always you can connect with me on Instagram. It's DJ Chief. You can see the handle right here. I don't know if you can see it on the
Yeah, they
Zoom.
they should see it. Yeah.
It's Chief Trey. I was gifted with the name Chief after my spiritual awakening, seeing that I was shot and nearly gunned down. Spirit rewarded me with the name Chief to be political, to be able to be political in 3D with the divine essence, to judge with the divine essence, and to police spiritually. Make sure our people um, are spiritually, moving correctly, divinely. So you can reach
Wow.
me on Instagram. That's just where my name came from. But I got a few different variations with my name, but we ain't gonna go too much into that. But yeah, you can reach me on IG, on Instagram, DJ Chief Trey. It's Chief like an Indian, CHIEFTR 3. You can
Mhm.
reach me on Facebook as well. I got a page on there as well. If you happen to stumble across my personal page, have at that too. But yeah, YouTube as well, same handle, DJ Chief Trey. So
Okay.
have at it, reach out, and if you see some material, subscribe, maybe follow.
Yes, yes, yes. And if you'd like to donate to give money towards I guess so your futures in music and hopefully writing. I'm telling you, I was just thinking too about the affirmations. You could really write a book about your affirmations. Like
That's
somehow.
crazy you say that. Like,
Mhm.
no, like that's crazy you say that. Like people say to me, man, you write some amazing affirmations. I'm like, you think so?
Mhm.
Like, hey, you might need to do an affirmation book. So be looking out for the affirmation book. Uh, it's on the feature. Look, she's gonna be have a few haikus in her. Yeah.
Perfect, perfect, perfect. So yeah, so I thank you. Like I just you don't know, like I've been feeling this whole time. Is just I know we are not alone. Like God and his angels, something's here blessing us, protecting us, and making sure that this, we do this right, because we're gonna help at least one person out there with this discussion. So I thank you so much. I usually say this. I'll say I thank you for your
Oh yeah,
courage.
hold on. Sorry, before
Okay,
you do the
okay.
outro. Sorry, y'all. I meant to say you can reach me on Cash App if you do want to donate. It's Cash App sign, of course, and it's just Chief Trey, Chief like it is right, Chief Trey. Thank you for
Mhm.
allowing me to do that. I appreciate everybody. Anybody donate, it be well used, to be cycled.
Yes. Okay. So what I usually say is we thank you for your courage and sharing your experience.
Thank
And
you.
I say that a billion times more for you because I know this was not easy. That's why it took us so long for us to even put this together. I was like, are you sure? Are you sure?
Yeah.
And
Thank
I feel like it was, I feel that energy, that light feeling where I just know that there was healing happening here.
you.
So I hope that you feel that as well.
Absolutely.
So thank you so much for having the strength to share this and trying to bless others through sharing your experience. And I just want to surround you, dear brother, truly in divine light, purple light, right? Divine purple,
Right?
blue, white, and gold. You get all that. So divine light, divine love, to guide you for the rest of your beautiful earthly experience. Blessings to you, Trey.
Blessings to you too. Peace to you.